Shauna Causey here for SMC Seattle and Seattle 2.0 TV, and we are wrapping up an amazing weekend at Gnomedex. So for everyone who's here, you saw there was 350 people here at Bell Harbor Conference Center in Seattle. Now, we just got done chanting Chris's name. People were holding up pillows. We're just finishing up the conference, and we've got Chris Pirillo here with us.
There were people chanting my name?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There were some people in the back with the pillows.
Oh,
waving
really?
the pillows.
I completely missed that.
Yeah.
I missed the
so this is the 9th Gnomedex. Chris, tell us a little bit about the highlights from this year's Gnomedex. For you.
The highlights, it's so hard to choose. It's so hard because then I always play favorites, right? Honestly, I think the highlight for me would be asking people what they thought the highlights were and hearing a different answer from everybody.
Yeah.
Gnomedex has kind of evolved into a zeitgeist of sorts, where we can have someone who is now traveling the country using social media to talk about the plight of the homeless, all the way to someone who studies cyborg anthropology, have them in the same room and still provide some amount of value to the same audience. You know, it's a zeitgeist. You know, really, to me, kind of a high-level overview of where I think the state of technology is in relation to our humanity. You know, the human circuitry, I think, was again brought to life this year at Gnomedex.
Now, I think that's a great point. So half the people in the room, this was the first year they actually came to Gnomedex, right?
Yeah, a lot of Seattleites, actually.
So how do you get the speakers for Gnomedex?
It's a good question. Well, since it's a single track event, a lot of attention is paid on the speakers, and not all of them can be awesome. It happens at every conference, but I usually, when I hear a story, when I see what's going on, if someone does something that I think is interesting or has the attention of the community, I go after that. And it's less about, you know, I developed an iPhone app, and more about, you know, I developed something that is now developing things, as in free Pettis with the MakerBot, you know, basically something, a 3D printer of sorts. That was very compelling, because he's trying to change the world, and he is. I mean, in very small ways, we're all changing the world. And so that kind of doing somethingness is what I look for in an ideal speaker.
And would you say there's something for everyone? Because you really had a lot of diversity in the speakers. Did you do that intentionally?
Well, no, it kind of comes together that way, honestly. I'm feeling, I realized, boy, it took 10 years to get it right, but, you know, the audience has certainly evolved, and I think I really appreciate more of, you know, the independent views. Certainly, you know, the more hardware we can show up on stage, the better, usually. And certainly, you know, letting the audience kind of define how it goes and flows, like doing like a show and tell, essentially, is what we did today. That was kind of an impromptu. It was a risk, but it was a risk well worth taking, because a lot of people got to share, you know, what they thought was interesting, fun, you know, useful. And I don't know, I don't want to say it's something for everybody, but I know that when you combine social with technology, it creates a more gender-neutral environment. And this year, while I don't think we were approaching 50%, we certainly had a higher percentage of females here than in years past.
I was going to ask that. How many females do you think there were? Like maybe
I don't know.
40%?
Like, yeah, it's got to be at least 30. At least 30. And that is, to me, substantially high for a conference that bills itself as a tech conference that's not geared towards men or women.
Yeah.
And to stay in that neutral territory is, I think, going to be a bit of a challenge. I'd like to enlist a bit of help in trying to find the next, you know, speaker roster of sorts. But it's honestly, you know, we didn't have, like, you know, dozens and dozens of speakers, no panels or anything, and still we sold out, you know, at least for the 5th year in a row, and didn't have to pack the schedule really tight to give people a really good experience, because it's not just about what's on stage, it's what's in the audience, it's what's happening online, the conversations that are going on anyway, and you know, the fact that Gnomedex provides, at least at Bell Harbor, the wireless internet access, which stayed up pretty much the entire time, not a single complaint, power to everybody's seats, and food. So those, most conferences don't give you a fraction of that. Yeah. We gave you all three for a price that is at a fraction of a conference, an average conference price. So it's not something for everybody. It's something for people who want to be inspired, who are looking to connect, and are looking to learn. And that's, I guess that's the ethos of Gnomedex, if I had, you know, a finer point to put on it.
So
sorry for rambling.
last year at the after party, or last night at the after party, you started a Chris Pirillo roast. Was there anything about that roast that embarrassed you?
No, you know, honestly,
Nothing. Okay.
No, I mean, there've been photos floating of me on the internet, well, floating around on the internet of me, and then this year there's always some awkward moment, and an awkward moment happened this year with some random configuration of microphones and holding onto computers and camera work and.
That might be the photo of the event.
It will be.
Yeah.
Absolutely be the photo of the event. There's no doubt in my mind. I knew as soon as it was happening, that's it. And it'll live on in infamy. So, yeah, nothing really embarrasses me. I'm not afraid to put myself out there. And I guess maybe I choose, I do choose a lot of presenters at Gnomedex if they kind of carry the same thing with them. So Mark Horvath being homeless and actually saying, I'm homeless and now I'm doing this to kind of share what's happening with the world of homeless. I mean, it's really putting yourself out there. Drew Olenoff putting himself out there saying, I have cancer, here's how I'm dealing with it. A lot of people have cancer. You know someone or likely know someone. Well, certainly you do know him now if you were sitting here and watching. So, you know, I think what, it's so hard to say. I just don't, I care, but I'm not so, I mean, I care, but I'm also grounded, and that helps keep me grounded.
You care enough, but you're also open enough to start your own roast, which I think says a lot about your personality. Right. So, one word to describe Gnomedex 9.0, what would it be?
Energy. So you have to put, I couldn't even answer it in one word. You have to put a limitation on me, otherwise I'll go on. Yeah. See, and I even busted that.
Briefly, what can we expect next year for Gnomedex 10?
Gnomedex 10. Well, it's an interesting thing because this is the first year that we set up registration and announced registration at the current event for the next year. So August 19th, 20th, 21st, 2010, Gnomedex 10 will be happening here at the Bell Harbor Conference Center. Wi-Fi, power, food, just like we've done the past 5 years. We've started ticket prices at this point in time at, I believe, $300. That's an early bird price. It may go up, and likely will go up, especially if we hit a certain metric, but I'm going to see how many tickets have actually sold or will sell in the next couple of weeks, given the amount of attention that we got with this conference. More information, gnomedex.com, and we'll have the link off to Eventbrite where we're currently doing tickets.
Great. So you heard it here first, energy. So let's look forward to Gnomedex 10. And Chris, thank you so much for joining us. And for SMC Seattle and Seattle 2.0, thanks for joining us.